So today, Tommy Robinson and I sat down together to do an interview for The Rebel talking about the effects of Islamic extremism in the UK. And halfway through that, we saw a report about the terrorist attack that happened in London. So we jumped in a taxi and went to report on it from the scene. Now, there was loads of mainstream media there, and there was lots and lots of people gathered around, as you can expect. And we started speculating. We started looking at the reports from the other mainstream media, and we started to try and figure out who did this, and the questions on everybody's mind. And while we were talking about this and mentioning Islamic extremism, rightfully, by the way, the mainstream media and their associates started gathering around us, taking photos and videos. And while Tommy was talking about how the left have allowed this kind of behaviour to go on, people started sniggering and laughing and joking to each other. And this is meters away, by the way, from the attack where people had just been killed and run down. And it was absolutely shocking. And yes, it was unprofessional of me, but I do not regret a single thing. And I still stand by every single thing I said. And I'm still going to continue, despite the horrendous backlash this has caused, to fight for the cause. Anyway, Tommy Robinson and I came back to the studio and we chatted about what happened. And I'm going to show that to you now. So, as you've probably already seen, Tommy Robertson and I had reported from the attack in London on the scene today. And now we're going to chat a little bit more about what it is that happened and just basically about the background. So, what type of attack was it that we saw today?
Today we saw an Islamic jihad attack. Something which, I don't know why people are always saying it's a surprise or a shock to the nation. It's not a shock. We've been waiting for it to happen every day. Every day they're doing terrorist briefings, we're on high alert. We know it's coming because we know the enemy are here living with us. So it's not, it's an Islamic jihad attack.
Well, in a nutshell, what specifically are your issues with Islam?
So with Islam, we're continually told Islam is a religion of peace. The facts are it's not. The facts are that its Prophet Muhammad took part in murder, in rape, in pillaging, and he inspired and directed his followers to do the same. Okay, there's 109 verses in the Quran which incite Muslims to terrorism, and they incite them to kill and murder the non-Muslims. 109. Continually, when we hear this, that's why all the time the first thing we hear is nothing to do with Islam, nothing to do with Islam. If there's nothing to do with Islam, if this wasn't anything to do with Islam, why have we got in every single country in the world radical Muslims on a jihad? We had nearly four terrorist attacks last week alone in France. Yeah? We've seen 12 stop terrorist attacks in the last 12 months in the UK. Terrorism arrests go up 60% every year in the UK. Okay? I think there was 350 Muslims arrested on terrorism last year. We're currently monitoring 3,500 Muslims 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because we know they're waiting to plan an attack against us. Now my worry, my fear, why I feel like this, is because that 3,500 in 10 years will be 35,000. Then we're in big, big trouble. Okay? Because we're in big trouble already. The amount it's costing us the economy, the amount it's costing our country already. That's my fear, that's my worry. Why Islam? Why the problem with Islam? And is it fair to blame Islam? I don't blame all Muslims, okay? There'll be many Muslims who are as horrified as us when they watch the news today. Yeah? But the viewpoint of the Muslim community, if we look at the statistics and the facts of the last poll from the Muslim community, that said 66% of British Muslims would not report on another Muslim if they knew they were fighting for ISIS. This is no joke, yeah? 66% of them would not. 23% of them wanted Sharia law here in the UK. Yeah? 4%, we're supposed to be happy that only 4% believe in suicide bombings. 4% of the British Muslim community is nearly 200,000 people. Now when you hear those sort of stats and facts, and then you look at the tactics used in today's terror attack, which was driving a 4x4, running people over. The Inspire magazine, which is Al Qaeda's terrorist manual, yeah, which is illegal to download. 50,000 British Muslims downloaded that in 1 year. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is my problem. We're not talking about 10, 20, 30, 40, a few idiots on the street corners. We're talking about huge numbers. Huge numbers that believe in it, huge numbers that want to do it, and even bigger numbers that sympathise with it. And I don't think that we should face the criticism we face. If you see the reaction to people saying, even after seeing me and you today, getting angry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get angry. We shouldn't face that for simply speaking the truth. Simply speak our genuine concerns and fears for the future. And to have to be continually beaten down with it or continually attacked, yeah.
So what does all this have to do with the EDL?
Well, to do with the EDL, it's I've dedicated 10 years of my life so far to combating this, to highlighting and making people aware of what's happening. Yeah, these groups, we're yet to know who this terrorist was, but my money would be on him being a prison convert or a former member at Al-Mujahideen, who are now a prescribed terrorist organisation. They weren't a prescribed terrorist organisation when we first started combating. Yeah. When we first went up against them, they weren't. The police and the government and the authorities and the public treated us the same as them. All we were trying to do was highlight the fear, because I understood their ideology. So throughout the time with the EDL and all the people joined the EDL, we understood this and we tried to highlight about these issues. Look, there was a lot of wrongs that happened on our side as well. But ultimately, we were trying to warn people of these groups and what they're going to do.
Well, relating to that, with all the wrongs that we're doing on our side, the left has been constantly saying today that the last terrorist attack in the UK was against Joe Cox by a right-wing extremist, and a lot of them are saying that they have similar views to the ones that you've had maybe now or in the past. What would you say to address that?
I'd say that the killer of Joe Cox was a terrorist, because I heard some argument at the time that people were not calling it a terrorist attack. It was a terrorist attack. But the reality is, this is the reality. The reality is, that's one attack. That's the only attack I can remember in the last 10 years in the UK. Yeah? Whereas we've stopped probably between 8 and 10 a year, every year, Islamic attacks. We've seen Islamic... Today is the year anniversary of the Belgium attacks, when they blew up the airport. Yeah? We've seen Islamic attacks to try and compare the two. Yes, it's bad. Yes, it's terrible. Yes, I feel for Joe Cox's family. But the reality is there's no comparison, really, in the two. You've got 300 attacks on one side and you've got one on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah? Now, this side, I believe, will grow. And unfortunately, because of the inability by the government or the police to really tackle this issue. Can we have faith in the politicians or the police to stop this, to tackle this? 5 years ago, after Lee Rigby's death, David Cameron come out saying we're making a 5-year government task force to tackle radical extremism. Are we in a better place now than we were then? You know what I mean? So since he stood there and gave that real powerful, strong speech, 4 times as many Muslims who have joined our British Army have gone to fight for ISIS. 4 times. Yeah? 500 of them are now back in the UK. And I know this. This is when people see me getting angry, or they see us getting angry. Yeah? They see me getting angry. I got contacted by the head of Bedfordshire Police, who said, "Where are you?" I told him where I was in the gym. He come to see me. He said, you have plans to go into London at this time on this date on Friday. We don't want you to go. Yeah? Why not? Because your coordinates have been intercepted from a Twitter account in Syria. I said, I don't care about what someone's tweeting in Syria. And he looked at me and said, but 450 of them are back. Yeah? I said, what are you talking about? He said, the ISIS fighters, 450 of them are back in the UK. So that's the reality. The reality is they're back. Yeah? And then suppose we're all supposed to change our life. Like you saw outside Parliament today, some people's lives would have been saved because they put big bollards all the way around the House of Parliament. Bollards on every street. The general public who have been killed today. It's going to get to a point, I went to Israel last year, where there's bollards at every single bus stop. You don't have to take my word for it. When I speak in facts and I speak the truth. You don't have to take my word for it. Go and research yourself. I see so many people saying or uploading they want to burn the Quran. Don't burn the Quran. Read the Quran. Read it. Understand it. Understand who the founder of Islam was. Understand what sort of man he was morally. Yeah? And you will understand all the answers to what's happening around the globe currently today. Yeah? That's what people need to do. People currently, at the biggest moment in history in Britain, need to understand Islam. Okay? And there's a barrier that stops people understanding Islam. That's formed by the media and the politicians who lie to us after every attack. Islam is a religion of peace. That's your opinion. We want the facts. We don't want your opinion. Okay? So go out there yourself and search and find the facts. You'll find yourself sitting on the same side as me.
Thanks for watching. If you like that and you want to see more, then click like and subscribe.